Hello and welcome to my presentation on why I believe Election Day should be made into a national holiday. I decided to write about this topic in large part due to the fact that the recent election brought to light a major issue with voter turnout and how it is far lower than it should be. And that is a problem, for one, because it creates controversies like we saw in this past election, how Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but Donald Trump obviously won the overall election. And issues like these are less likely to happen if the number of voters is higher than it currently is. And another issue with a low voter turnout is a large part of the country is not having their voices heard. And making Election Day a national holiday greatly increases the chances that these people are able to get out and vote and let the country know how they feel. So the main points in making Election Day a national holiday are, for starters, voter turnout is just way too low, period. Compared to other developed countries like France, it's way below them. On average, France is above 80% of eligible voter turnout year after year, which pretty much blows the United States out of the water. Um, and that's the main issue that making election day a national holiday will hopefully resolve. Um, a lot of people aren't able to get out and vote due to the fact that they work on election day, and making it a national holiday removes that issue. Um, the vast majority of the country will have the day off. They'll be able to get out, have plenty of time to vote, and that voter turnout number increases exponentially. So making Election Day a national holiday would just really help in easing a lot of people's day, um, having it be just devoted to voting. Nobody has to worry about getting out of work at a good enough time to be able to go to a poll and vote. So that clears that up. And lastly, making a national holiday would just really raise the awareness um, of how important voting is to our country. So you can see here we have a graph that shows the percentage of voter turnout from 1789 until this past election. And it's clear that voter turnout has been a problem for a while now. Ever since the early 1900s, the percentage has been hovering right around 60%. And it just shows that this issue is not new, and clearly something needs to be done about it. And making Election Day a national holiday is the first step that needs to be taken in order to fix this issue. And people such as Bernie Sanders have even tried to address this problem. He came up with a bill that would make Election Day a national holiday, and uh, there's been many others that have called for something to be done uh, in order to finally raise these numbers and get America back on track. Making Election Day a national holiday would greatly increase awareness around the country and even across the world about why voting is so important to America. For too long now, people have just acted like voting is not a big deal. It's just one of the many luxuries that we as Americans have, and people just vastly underrate just how important it is to us. And making it a national holiday would, I think, finally remind everyone on just how big of a deal it is that we can vote in this country. People, for years, hundreds of years, as long as this country has been around, have fought for the right to vote. And it would also greatly raise the knowledge of younger generations on why voting is so important. Making it a national holiday, they would learn in school about, how far we've come as a country and the reasons that we need to vote and why it is a national holiday, the reasons for that. So making Election Day a national holiday isn't just to raise the number of voters, it's to just create a higher education for everyone. My last point on why Election Day should be made into a national holiday is just the fact that throughout our history, the history of the United States, the history of the world, one of the main issues that we have tried to address, tried to fix, has been voting. From the time, that we separated from England and became our own country, voting was at the forefront of what we wanted as our own country. And people forget that. People forget that, 100 years ago, African Americans couldn't vote, women couldn't vote. This isn't a thing that's been around forever. People have had to spend years and years, their whole lives, just working for their next generation and not even themselves. So making Election Day a national holiday would remind people of the history behind voting in our country. So to end this, I just want to thank you for watching my presentation. I hope I made you think a little, and I hope you understand my point. So once again, thank you, and make Election Day great again.